It was not until the 2016 US presidential election finally came to an end did people realize that the most generous donor behind Hillary Clinton was the financial giant Soros, who invested at least $25 million into the campaign. However, even during the most fierce days of the election, his name was rarely mentioned in the campaign reports. This is his style, hiding behind the curtain while actually controlling everything. The same trick has been manipulated by his Open Society Foundation, which secretly financed the color revolutions in many countries. No one would have associated Soros, reputed as a money-grubbing economic speculator, with the initiator of the color revolution if Shevardnadze, the former president of Georgia, didn't reveal the facts angrily after stepping down in the Rose Revolution. Soros invested $3 million to instigate this Rose Revolution that subverted the Georgian regime. In 2017, the Wall Street Journal reported that Soros transferred nearly 80% of his net worth, which accounted for $18 billion then, to the Open Society Foundation, which is now spread across more than 60 countries in Asia, Europe, Africa, and Latin America. According to the DC Leaks website, the foundation has also funded Dai Yaoting, one of the 3 key rioters in the so-called Umbrella Movement in Hong Kong. This is just a routine operation of the Open Society Foundations. Traces of the foundation have been found in the Orange Revolution in Ukraine in 2004, the Yellow Revolution in Kyrgyzstan in 2005, the Arab Spring in 2010, and the Hong Kong protests in 2019. Back in 1989, 2 years before Ukraine's breaking away from Russia, Soros provided more than $100 million to Ukraine to create the preconditions. He also admitted by himself that he funded the 2014 Maidan Square protests, which brought the current Ukrainian government to power. When the national regime changes, financial speculation will take advantage of it. The Orange Revolution in Ukraine brought Viktor Yushchenko and his wife, who worked in the US State Department, to power, and the Democracy Building Project enabled Soros to plunder the wealth of the former communist country recklessly. The foundation's malicious operations also include recruiting journalists to manipulate mass media and bribing politicians and public figures to control the government and universities. Young people who are agitated by propaganda often fail to see the process and efforts of the country and regard the democracy as the only solution to social problems. Then they would fight for the so-called democracy in the color revolutions without realizing that ahead of them would actually be an even darker and more chaotic nation. At the same time, Soros, this notorious speculator, is laughing in the dark for his success in beating ideology with money and utilizing optimism to expropriate people's wealth. As his real face is shown to the world, what he will eventually face is ultimate infame and failure.